Welcome, Patriots, to another episode of Powerhouse Tactical. Today, we're actually going to be cleaning, taking apart and cleaning a handgun. So due to some requests by our subscribers, I will be showing how to take apart, clean, maintain, put back together a handgun. So it's very important, especially if you are concealed carrying your firearm, to keep it very clean and well maintained so that it will work when you need it the most. So with that said, let's get to it. Okay, so we have a Glock 19 Gen 4. As far as cleaning and maintaining, before you do anything else, you must clear your firearm. So, magazine out, lock the slide back, pinky check. Now, you can bring the slide back to its original position, point it at a safe direction, and squeeze that trigger. Your Glock has been cleared. Now, empty magazine. It's kind of dirty, so we're gonna put it right there. Make sure that when you're cleaning and maintaining your firearm, there are no ammunition, there are no live ammunition on that same table, preferably in that same room. So with that said, first thing you do with the Glock, you have to pull the slide back just a little, and pull it back just a little until you feel that a little bit of a click. And then you're gonna take the takedown lever from both sides, right? Pull it down. Then you're gonna let go of your slide, but not completely let go because it might fling out, right? While you're doing that, if it doesn't work, make sure that your trigger is depressed all the way. When the trigger is not depressed, like cocked like this, it won't work. It won't work. So what you need to do is depress the trigger and it'll come right off. So now that your slide is off your frame, I like to use old t-shirts, just cut them up to little rectangles, little areas, and work on top of there. So we're going to take the guide rod, or the recoil spring I should say, out, and the barrel just comes out just like that. Now, the next thing, you're going to need a tool. It's a good idea to purchase one of these punches. It's like 10 bucks on Amazon or something like that. So there you will see a little shiny metal piece. We're going to press that up. Hope you heard that click. And then we're going to place this punch right underneath that metal piece, right? And then we're going to push it down this way. So as we push it down, I like to have the slide kind of securely located on the table. Push it down, and then you're going to thumb slide the back panel out. But when you do it, please do not hold it from here and then slide it out this way. Hold it from here and push it out. We're going to press this down, and then we're going to push it out. As we push it out, this comes off very easily, but we're covering the back of the slide with our thumb. That's very important to do that because there is a part that is spring loaded. This one. This could actually fling out, and you're gonna end up losing that spring, and it's a pain. It's a pain. It's a little spring piece right there, right? And then you can just pull out the striker with a fire pin at the end. Right out. It just slides out. There you go. Focus. And once you've done that, there's one last thing left. So you'll see the little round metal piece right there. That actually is the block that blocks the firing pin from hitting the ammunition unless the trigger has been pressed. So that's your internal safety. You're going to press that in, and then that little piece, black piece that looks like that, is going to pop out. Let me show you again. Okay, it's like that, right? That round metal piece, I'm going to press that in, right? And it pops right out like that. So, and then the safety mechanism also pops out. Okay, now your slide has been completely disassembled. So what I like to do is, before I get to my frame to start disassembling this part, I actually like to get some CLP, the cleaning solution, and just get some of them kind of coated and start breaking down all them dirty carbon buildup stuff. So get that nice and well coated, and then squirt some in there. Then you could always take a little Q-tip and start spreading that apart. Make sure it's well coating all the little nooks and crannies. What CLP does is, in a pinch, you could use it as a lubricant as well, but the main purpose of CLP is to kind of get all them dirt and grime and carbon buildup all loosened up. That's what it's formulated for. So use it as such. So we're gonna kind of do that, let that sit for a while, and then we're gonna do the same thing for all the little parts as well. So make sure you coat the inside of the barrel with all that CLP as well, to just get them all coated in there. Boom. So we're soaking now. Everything is being soaked and whatnot, and it doesn't hurt to get a little brush like this. You can actually use an old toothbrush as well. So it's a good idea to get some of that stuff loosened up, actually physically, not just chemically, but physically loosened up by brushing some of those really dirty parts. This sits right here on the slide, so this part is actually exposed in case of Glock. So this part can not only have a lot of carbon buildup, but also, you know, the external dirt and dust and things like that as well. So make sure the chamber area is also well brushed. Now, it's actually not a bad idea to have a tool, something like this. This one is actually plastic. I prefer plastic so that I don't scratch up the metal of any part of my gun. So parts like this, you know, the chamber area and whatnot, could have kind of a caked up carbon and things like that getting built up. So, you know, if you can, just kind of scratch those little things off. And while these guys are kind of soaking in their little CLP bath, I like to start working on my frame. Now, here's the thing. Just as like a regular maintenance and cleaning, this really should be all you need. You shouldn't need to go any further. Just put a little dab on a cloth like this, dab of CLP on a cloth like this, and just wipe them off. That really, literally, is good enough for, you know, just regular type of maintenance. But today we're going to show you more of a full cleaning option. So you're gonna have 3 pins to take out. 1 out, 2 out, right? So first one and second one are gonna be metal, and they will have little grooves. The first one especially, it's more pronounced. Those grooves are more pronounced. Yeah, so you'll have 2 grooves there, which should catch on the inside. And this one is just thinner in in the long section, and then both ends are a little bit thicker. So it's kind of hard to notice that on the camera here. So those two things are out, and in the back, that's the pin that holds the trigger control group back here, and that pin is actually made of polymer plastic, and it does not have any grooves. So 3 distinctively different pins, and that's it. That's all the pins there are. All right, so those pins, I like to set them aside, make sure that I don't lose it, right? And then you'll take that takedown punch, right? And then that little H-shaped block. Pick out a good spot down here and just leverage it out, right? You're gonna just push it out. It should slide out very smoothly, but it's pretty tight, so you won't be able to pull it out with your hand. You will need some sort of a tool. And once that's out, you could take out the slide lock. And now that those are removed, really, rest comes out in just one piece. Rest are just gonna come out in one piece, just like that. That's the trigger, and that's the control group back here, and so on. So, oh wow, that's pretty dusty back there. It's a good thing we're cleaning it today. This is my concealed carry piece, so just from my clothing, the lint is kind of covering that trigger. So this is why it's important to regularly maintain your firearm, especially if it is your everyday carry concealed carry piece, concealed carry or open carry for that matter. So now your frame is completely disassembled, aside from the fact that the takedown lever, which is this, that moves like that, and then your magazine release. Mag release is still attached to your frame. Those can come up, but we're not gonna go so far today. And I'm gonna just, like I did earlier, I'm gonna just dab a couple more drops of CLP and start wiping things down in there. So now I'm done wiping down the frame. I'm gonna put that down for a second. I almost forgot my magazine. So make sure that when you're cleaning your magazine, you don't have any ammunition in there. Right now, today I'm not gonna take the magazine apart, but you can by removing the base plate. But today we're just gonna wipe down the outside with no ammunition in it. It's not a good idea to get any gun oil or CLP or any kind of cleaning agent or even lubricating agent to touch your live ammunition. So you could always take that dental tool and get to those hard to reach areas. So nice and clean, right? All right, so I think all the parts from the slide has been sitting there kind of soaking in and got brushed and everything for a good 5-6 minutes. So next thing to do is just to wipe everything down and try to kind of get all that loosened up dirt and carbon buildup off. I'm using another piece of old t-shirt that I cut up. I feel pretty good about the cleanliness of the slide, except now I have one last process left that I like to do. So get that little dental thing and have the cloth around it. And there's a rail groove that you just can't get to, that this dental tool is perfect for. So just all the way through. Look at that. Right? We're getting all that stuff out. All right. I think we're pretty good. Okay, so we're going to set that aside until we're ready to reassemble. So now, there's a little Q-tip that I purchased recently that fits the 9mm exactly. We do sell them to our students at our school. I forget the exact name of it, but what I like to do is I usually like to have them standing out like that. and just go through the barrel once. Ah, look at that. Now the barrel is completely cleaned, as well as the chamber. Perfect. And now we're going to wipe off the trigger group. There is a way to take down the trigger group further, but we're not going to do that today. Just make sure that it's wiped off as cleanly as possible. All right, we're wiping off all the parts. In fact, I think we're done. So now only one thing left to do: putting it back together. All right. So we're going to start with putting the frame back together. So last thing that came out of the frame was the trigger group, which will be the first thing that goes back in now. So pretty much the order everything came out of, now it's in reverse. So last thing came out, that's going to be the first thing going back in. So trigger group goes in, right? And then we're going to get the pin for the trigger group, and we're going to get our slide lock lever in there. Make sure it matches where it was before. It should just slide in, just like that. Being held in by nothing right now until we get that in. All right. So when you're sliding in, you need no tool. So it's now all back in, and that still is loose. So be careful not to lose that yet. Okay, and then the thinner of the two metal pins will go to the top, right? So that's in. And then now the big one goes on the bottom hole. Now this one's going to take some finesse, because those grooves, the grooves that are on the pin, is supposed to be caught by the ring of the slide lock. You kind of have to wiggle with the slide lock lever before it can be slid in like that. All right, now I'm going to take the Glock takedown tool and make sure all the pins are in nice and flush. Okay, so both sides look good. This one needs to be pushed in just a little bit more, so both sides look good. So that's how you want them to look, right? And then the pin back here. So the frame is now all put back together. So we're going to put that aside and work on putting our slide back together. So before we deal with all the barrels and everything like that, what was the last thing that came out of the slide? It was the safety mechanism. So we're going to put that in there, right? And since we have to push it to take this out, we're going to push it to put that back in. So the little trick is, there's a little flat looking part, and then there is a round looking part, right? Round part and a flat part. So round part will go to the back of the slide, flat part will be front of the slide. Round, flat, right? So round goes back, and as you press the safety mechanism in, you're gonna just put that in there, and you're gonna let the safety go. Now, it won't come out. It will not come out. It's being held there. It's holding each other. This is when I bring in our trusted Powerhouse Tactical gun oil and start lubricating some parts before we put them in. So the safety, we're gonna put just a dab, just a drop, small drop right next to it, and we're gonna work that oil in there, right? Maybe one more drop right in there as well. Okay, and then one drop right here, and we're gonna work that in, right? make sure that part that sticks out like that goes through the groove right there, right? That's how it fits. Okay, now that that's done, we can't forget about the very important part that could have flung out. What I like to do is I like to just put a little dab on the tip of my finger, work that in, and then just spread it very thinly on this type of parts. So spring side will go in last. There's a little hole, the upper right corner. Just drops in just like that. Okay. Now it's time for the back plate to go on. This part is slightly tricky. So it's going to go on through that rail right there, but it's going to be stopped by the striker. So I'm going to use the tool. So I'm going to just press the striker in, and then it's going to go in further, and then it's going to get caught again by the spring. So now I push in the spring. And make sure that you hear that click. Make sure to hear that click. Unless you hear that click, it's not in all the way. Now your slide is fully reassembled, other than the barrel and the recoil spring. So here, barrel looks a little dry, right? Another part that I want a little bit more lubrication. All right, you don't need to drench it. Just, I think I did put a little too much this time, but that's okay. And don't you ever believe if somebody ever tells you that too much oil is going to hurt your gun. It's not a good thing to have too much oil, but having too much is better than too little. Never run your gun dry. Okay. I still think it's a little too much. All right. So, sure. The rule of thumb is anytime you see a metal to metal touching, metal to metal friction happening, that's where you want your oil. So you're going to put the front part of your recoil spring, right? The plastic part and then the metal part. So the plastic part is going to go on to the front of the slide, and it's going to sit like that, right? You don't want that. You want to push that in and put it on the bottom tier. So there are steps, put it on the bottom step, right? I'm going to put just a dab here, dab here, dab here, and dab here. So what I'm doing is I'm putting just a couple of drops on each side rail that's going to glide over these metal parts. Those are going to be holding your slide up, but also your slide will be traveling on it. So that's metal to metal contact, and a lot of friction every time you fire. It's going to rub against that. So having a little bit of lubrication on there definitely helps. Looks good. Get all that oil kind of worked in there. All right. Safe direction. Squeeze that trigger. Okay. And then get that magazine in there. Make sure, obviously, it's empty magazine in there, and wreck that slide. See, it locks. I'm making sure that I put it back together properly, and it's working properly. And as you check if it's functioning properly without actually shooting a live ammunition through it, it's a great idea, almost a must to have. Just 2 or 3 in there is going to work. These are just empty mock ammunition. It doesn't, there's nothing in there that's going to go boom. Get that in there. Make sure that it feeds properly. In order to check if it fed properly, You're gonna have to do that. That fed properly, good. I'm gonna check multiple feedings. Right, that's now loaded. Boom, 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 and then it locks back. Great. That's how you clean and maintain your Glock 19. And if you have any other ideas or better ways to do it, feel free to share with the rest of us in the comments below. Otherwise, please, we'd appreciate it if you could like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hope to see you soon in another video. And until then, God bless you, and God bless America. This is Powerhouse Tactical.